Hey, I remember when we started this a while ago, Caleb was doing this and the sun would shine in on his face. Scott's taken his place.
Yeah, I've picked a more neutral location, you could say.
You've upgraded.
Okay. All right. Well, looks like hopefully Jason will be in a little bit. School has started, so the morning is now conflicted with school schedules again. But anyway, welcome Patricia to the FunnelFlow Mastermind. We are just a bunch of guys who are obsessed with digital marketing and unlocking the power of the internet to get leads. A little bit of my backstory. I've been an entrepreneur for over 10 years. Well, pretty much as long as I can remember. When I was 12, I was negotiating lawn care prices with the old lady next door. But you kind of get the idea. But for the last 10 years, I've been actively involved in entrepreneurship, at the same time working as a nurse, and actually work with Patricia's husband. Mr. Luke Wingo down in the ED from time to time. He gave me a COVID swab the other day, so we're real close. He's very gentle.
Yeah.
Anyway, so about 4 years ago, I started a junk removal business, and I set up the digital marketing strategy to do that using simple funnels, simple ad campaigns, brought in some freelance contractors to kind of help me get it set up. But just using strategies I'd learned online, I scaled that to over 6 figures in less than 12 months. But there was a lot I didn't know about business, and ultimately I couldn't scale it fast enough. Really, for us to replace our income, we would have had to been doing 300 or 400 grand in sales in that business due to the way the profit structure is and the high cost of labor and equipment. So it was good. It just wasn't good enough. But towards the end of that, when I saw the writing on the wall, I really went on this. I almost said like a deep spiritual search, but I was like really looking for answers. How can I make digital marketing work? And somewhere into that, I clicked into a webinar by Russell Brunson, the godfather of sales funnels. Are you familiar with Russell, Patricia?
Have the book.
Bless you. So I clicked into one of his webinars and just started consuming his information as much as I could, and attended trainings and webinars and spent way too much money just going really deep into this. And as a result, I felt like I had the answer to build a business online, or not necessarily like online in the traditional sense, like I'm just making money selling. A lot of people make money online. You're like, what do you do? Yeah. But like actually bringing real customers to real brick and mortar and real coaches and experts and consultants, and really unlocking the internet to get leads. So that's been my focus for the last 3 years, is helping coaches and service providers like I was, a junk removal guy, grow and scale their business. So Scott Landis was my client number one, and I started applying these techniques to his business. He was kind of the operator. I was the guy behind the curtain, and we totally rebuilt his business, restructured his offers, restructured his lead flow systems. And now he's on a growth trajectory, and we're delving into the world of paid traffic and also organic marketing. And so our focus right now in the mastermind is how do we capture organic interest and amplify that with ads, and not just to get likes and shares and comments, which you can't cash Facebook likes in to the bank, but how do you turn that into actual money, into actual opportunities? So I've been going deep on this in my own personal learning, and I'm starting to work out a framework that I can help everyone walk through, called engagement hacking. And the idea is modeling what is working for similar influencers in your niche, and modeling that type of content and making it your own. So you're not just copying it, you're not plagiarizing it, but modeling it, making it your own. So you can basically model what works. You can success leaves clues, Tony Robbins famously says. So who's successful in the influencer world, getting engagement, getting people to consume their marketing message? How can you model that so you can have maybe the crumbs off the table, so to speak, or you can start to build your own following using essentially best practice and the current gold standard? And since the what is working is always shifting, you need a framework that you can kind of get a pulse on what's working in the influencer space, so you can model it in your own social media profiles. And then once you have people's attention, you can push them into your funnels. Okay. You can get people into your funnels through brute strength, just paying a lot of money, pushing them via ads, or you can engage them. You can solve their problems. You can address their pain points. And once you are delivering value to them, once you're helping them solve tangible problems, then you have their attention. The currency of the internet is attention. If you think about it, Mr. Beast, he has tens of millions, hundreds of millions of subscribers. Why does he make millions and millions and millions of dollars from YouTube every month? Is it because he's manufacturing something that's helping people? Is he producing the cure for cancer? Is he producing electric cars like Elon Musk? No, he has people's attention, and that attention can be monetized. And not in the sense that, and we're not looking at it in the sense like, a large scale influencer, or we're not trying to necessarily build like a national YouTube brand or something like that. What we're trying to do is capture our dream clients' attention, or a portion of them, solve their problems, deliver value, and then invite them into our funnel. Any thoughts or feedback or pushback on this?
Not yet.
Okay. So in order to accomplish this, obviously you need a few things. In order for this strategy to make sense, you need a few things in place. Obviously, you need a funnel. You need optimized social media. You need a strategy. So like, we're not going into all that today. We're just going into this one tactical aspect of something I'm calling engagement hacking. If someone is already using this term, I'm sorry, I'll modify it. But this is, I had an epiphany lying in bed last night trying to sleep. And Russell Brunson talks about funnel hacking, where when you build a funnel and you're trying to get leads and sales, you look at what's already working. Who's somebody in your niche? Who's somebody who is already making money, already having a profitable funnel? Instead of like just building the thing from scratch, you just model it, right? But you put your offer in there. The same way with trying to get engagement and attention online. So look at people in your space that you would like to be a cohort, you would like to be a peer with, so to speak, and see what's working. And then you model it for your frameworks, for your areas of expertise, for your passions. And then once you have those people's attention, then you can push them into your funnels. Okay, does that make sense? That sound good? A little slide deck on it, and then we can do an exercise to kind of make it a little bit more tactical. So let me share my screen here. While I'm pulling this up, does anyone want to share a success or a misery in regards to posting stuff online, like social media, etc.?
It's mostly just misery this morning, Caleb. I mean, but while you pull it up, I'll comment on that. I think we've all suffered from the posting or trying to go and put out information that you feel is helpful or valuable, and it generates literally nothing for your efforts, right? There's this element. I think we know there's a way to get people to engage and raise their hand and say, I'm interested in what you've got going on. But I think that's part of why we're here, is to figure out how to make that more effective, how to take more control over that process.
Before I go into the strategy, I just want to tell you kind of where I've learned this. One, just reverse engineering, looking at what works. People who are selling things online at a high level generally have a very engaged social media audience. They have organic engagement and they boost it with ads. Anybody I follow, I've bought from, I've seen their posts in my feed over and over and over again, to where they kind of become a household name, at least in my head. And I recognize them. They've been delivering value. Maybe I've watched a few of their YouTube tutorials. And then somewhere in that mix, somewhere in those 10, 20 videos that I've watched, just in passing, they say, hey, get my free book, right? Hey, sign up to my webinar. So it's like value, 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 pitch, value, 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 pitch. I can't think of, there's been very few people that I've bought from online as I've tried to start to learn this online marketing thing, that hasn't just peppered me with content, right? So that's kind of the strategy we're looking at. And then, so that idea, I bought this book, The Content Multiplier Formula. This guy, Peng Joon, he does over $1 million a month. He's in information sales. He's one of Russell Brunson's top affiliates. And basically he created this whole framework where by just recording a whole bunch of videos, he has a process, you can extract all that, put that into all your social media. It's semi-complicated and would be fairly expensive to implement if you had people do it for you. But as a result, just through these tactics, he's built a mini empire. So reading this book and kind of taking my own learnings, what I've tried to do is like simplify this into something that we can do on a smaller scale. So that's what I'm working on with this framework. So we'll go on to the next slide here. All right, so I'm calling this engagement hacking. And the idea here is not to reinvent the wheel. So we're looking at what's, there's already people having success online with social media and getting engagement. So let's just model them. Let's figure out what's working, and then let's apply that to our own business. Okay, you don't have to do this right now, but there's a really cool tool you can use to start to investigate this process. It's called Buzzsumo. There's a few of them, but the idea of Buzzsumo is you can look at people in your niche. So you kind of have to have a baseline knowledge of people who are doing things online or people you want to model. But I did this just this morning. I just typed in marketing, and then I found this influencer down here. He has 180,000 followers, right? And I had never heard of this guy before. So he's not like a name brand per se, but he has a pretty engaged following. And so you go to Buzzsumo and you just type in kind of your general search term, whether it be real estate or life coaching or relationship coaching or sales, whatever. And you can see it, the most engaged influencers, right? And maybe you kind of go down the page a little bit, because we're not gonna compete with Grant Cardone when we start off, or Brian Tracy in terms of a sales trainer, or Tony Robbins. But there's people who are doing well, but who don't maybe have total market domination. Like let's try and model some of that. So that's what I did with this guy. I found John Loomer. I'm obviously trying to build my business as a marketing consultant. So I just typed in marketing. You can go a little bit more granular, but I saw he had a fairly engaged audience, and then I clicked into him. And then you'll get a graph of his most engaged posts. As you can see, not everything hits. And that's how social media is. You're always throwing hooks out there, and you're seeing what the fish bite on. I went fishing a lot last week when I went camping, and I got a few bites, but it was only after trying different baits. You try and get a feel for what's already working. You talk to the guy at the bait shop, you talk to the people who have fishing poles in the water, like what's working, because you don't want to just come into that fishing scenario cold and just, put a piece of cheese on the hook if the fish have never seen cheese before. And I think the model applies for when you're trying to hook people offline. What's already working? What are the fish already biting on? So people in your space who are following other influencers, what are they biting? So Buzzsumo will give you this analytics of what their most engaged posts are. I'm like, okay, this is cool. So you click into the graph, and then it'll give you his top most engaged posts. Now, do you want to model, an engagement of 149 or 154? Or would you rather model a post that has over twice the engagement? What do you think? Give me a thumbs up. Yes, right. It's pretty logical. Okay, there you go. And this was random. I literally did this at 6:25 this morning. So you can do this really quick. So it clicked me into this post, and here was the post. Get access to my free video series on the introduction to Facebook analytics. To sign up, click the link below. So, stylistically, it looks cool. It's not too fancy, but basically he's linking out to a free course. So I don't know if this is honestly the best scenario, because every day we're not going to be posting free courses. But you can see his audience really likes a free course. So I can reverse engineer this and say, okay, if I'm trying to build a digital marketing consultant business, I can build a free course and invite people to that. Like, this is a really good lead magnet. Okay, so the people interested in digital marketing like free courses, right? That was my takeaway from this. Pretty powerful. So the idea is here is just make it your own. I have some courses that I'm creating, and I think it's easy to want to charge for everything, but if I can get that level of engagement by putting a free course out there, maybe that's an indication that's something I need to do. Okay, so here's the framework to make this actionable. So before you do any of this, you need to define your pillars. And the pillars are basically, what are your core messaging that you can speak to, right? So what are your frameworks? Like the repeatable process you take clients through. So Patricia, I imagine there's a repeatable process when you get a new client, or Scott says, hey, I'm moving to San Diego. I want to buy a house. Okay, this is what we need to do. And maybe you say it out loud or you don't, but it's like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 process that you take your client through to achieve a result. And that result would be get the ideal house for his family, right? Okay, would you say you have a framework for a buyer to buy a house that you take them through?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's all a framework is. It's just a repeatable process that you can apply again. When I get a new funnel client, there's a repeatable process I take them through. Now, we're always refining them. We're always making them a little better. But I can talk about in my social media, my frameworks, like what are the results I take people through? And as people hear about the results I take people through in my messaging, so I'm not just talking about myself and my cat and my dog and, things that aren't necessary. It's not like a Kardashian thing where I'm just like taking pictures of myself. I'm talking about what are the results I deliver to people and how I delivered them. So I need to define that before I start posting online. Otherwise, I'm just posting the post. I talk about my expertise. So that could be case studies. That could be walkthroughs. That could be training videos, things like that. And that also comes into frameworks as well. And then what am I passionate about? So there's this element of polarity online. Now, maybe I'm a digital marketer, but I have a very specific political bent, right? And maybe this isn't the best advice for everybody, depending on the field you're in. But if you're in a saturated field and you kind of maybe also talk about some of your passions, maybe it's political, maybe it's nature, maybe it is your family, your dream clients, because there's a lot of options in the field, so to speak, the ones who relate and share your passions will also be attracted to that, and then they'll hear your message as well. Does that make sense? So yeah, you're going to push some people away if you say, you're a conservative MAGA Republican, or you're, you vote blue, right? And I'm not saying one's better than the other in this moment. I'm just saying, like, you're going to push some people away, but you're also going to attract some very dedicated fans, so to speak. Okay. And the people who have the most reach online have an element of polarity to them, where some people love them, some people hate them, but there's no money in the middle. All right, so you're going to define your pillars. Then you're going to find the pain. So in your pillars, where are people struggling in the area of expertise that you can help? All right, so are they struggling to find financing for their house because they're in North County and like, my gosh, houses are freaking expensive, right? Are they struggling to close? They're getting leads, but maybe they're struggling to close the deals, or they're now a sales manager and they don't know how to effectively train their sales team or keep them motivated. All right. So just thinking through, like, what are the pain symptoms? And we went into this in depth last week, and I'll give you access to that mini course, Patricia, kind of help you get some, extract some pain, figure out where your clients are at pain wise, but like, what is the pain that they're struggling with that you can help? And then you kind of have to meld the two. So you figure out what's working, right? So you see, okay, this, like for me, okay, I see people interested in digital marketing really like free courses. So I could make a free course. Okay, what do I make a free course on? Right? Then that's where I need to go to the pain assessment. Where are people really struggling? And I referenced last week's lesson and mini course, the painkiller marketing. Like what are they really struggling with? And then once I determine that, I can speak to that, help them relieve that pain. And now I have a course. Now I have something that solves a problem and is modeled after success, and with some good tactics, I can get high reach online. Okay, any questions or thoughts kind of on this framework? And I know it's rough, but
yeah, I have a question. So you were showing the 3 examples of Facebook posts. One had 400 and some. And when we look at that example and we can model it, because it obviously has some elements to it that indicate success, right? At least success leaves clues in. So we can say, okay, what about this probably is working? And so all that makes sense. Where I'm like uncertain about it is I'm assuming that this guy has a bigger reach than me. So just because I model, if I model every element that worked on his post, my assumption is it's if I have like 5 followers and he's got 50,000 followers, what will the result be? It seems like it would be not anywhere close to good. You know what I'm asking?
Yeah, you're saying that if you do all the same things, how can we even begin to assume we're going to get a similar level of success? Is that what you're saying?
Right. Yeah, and I mean, I get that it's obvious we're not going to get the same. But I guess my question is, if I already have a bunch of people and I post something, I can expect results. But if I don't have a bunch of followers, how do we fill that gap?
Well, I don't have the exact answer, but I think there's an element, if you build it, they will come, right? As you are building content, let's say you have 5 followers, right? We'll get to you in a second, Patricia. Let's say you have 5 followers and you give them that post and they share it and they're like, they like it. And it's highly engaged. Facebook is, even if it's on the small scale, the whole point of the algorithms is to keep you hooked on that screen, to keep your thumb scrolling, right? So Facebook, YouTube can sense engagement. Like viral videos start with 1 view. Okay. I'm not saying that it's necessarily going to go viral, but I mean, if it's crap to begin with, it's not going anywhere. But if you set it up for success and you have a small amount of followers organically, I made an Instagram page, and I made a new one. My original handle was Caleb the Nurse. Then I made one, FunnelFlow _ Mastermind. Make sure to follow me. just through the algorithm saying, hey, you should follow this guy, through friends and family with no posts, or I had like one, which was like me in a parking lot. Never mind. But like no posts, no engagement, no value. I had 50 followers. Okay. So the algorithms want everybody to follow everybody. The algorithms want to keep you hooked. So if you have any little bit, if the storm starts with the tiny rain cloud. So if you just start with something and you're repeatedly making good content, there's ways to boost engagement with paid advertising. But you have to start somewhere. And if you start this process, this is a strategy that in 3, 6 months, 9 months, you're starting to see results. Okay, just my own example, that Instagram that I made, that I really started to activate a few months ago. I've already gotten like 12 or 13 new follows. I'd say 5 of those are legit. 7 of those people are like trying to spam me and sell me knives from Pakistan and weird stuff. But 5 of those are actually like people that I could maybe potentially engage with, and I could nurture into a sale. As a result of that little bit of engagement, I've had the opportunity to give a $10,000 pitch. I had another meeting with him yesterday. Okay. So like at our level, any level of engagement, if we add one person to our social media following that's highly engaged, we're delivering value to, and we can get them on a sales call, there's sales opportunities that come out of it. So even if our engagement goes from 5 to 20, those extra 15 people, there's money to be made there. Does that make sense? All right. And then here's a message I got yesterday. As a result of engaging on Instagram, I met a guy at church yesterday. I connected with him on Instagram. And here's the message. Hey, Caleb, great meeting you. And it's funny how God works. I'm looking forward to staying connected and seeing the content you put out. So, and this guy has 30,000 followers, right? I know he has money to spend. And he's a course creator. He's in the digital marketing space. He's an ideal client for me. So now I'm incentivized just to continue to put out content that would serve this guy, in the hopes that he starts to see me in his feed on a regular basis. And if I get in this opportunity to talk to him about his business, which I plan to, by the time we have that meeting, I'll be in front of his face 20, 30 times. So I guess the long answer to your short question is, any increase of engagement due to using best practice can be monetized.
That's a good answer. And I realized as you're talking, my experience with Facebook has been, if something's working well, it'll just offer to boost this post, and it'll even have some metrics like, hey, if you boost this post, it'll show you this many people. So I think it's probably more simple than I was making it in my head.
Yeah, I understand the feeling. It's like, what's the point? Like, how am I gonna be made known? If our profit models was, we don't get paid till we start getting over 100,000 views, and we're trying to get like ad money or something like that, like people who don't provide any real value, they're just making a YouTube channel of them doing stupid stuff, right? Or unboxing videos, right? Yeah, I would be a little less excited. But when honestly I'm getting messages like that in my inbox, and I know that in 15, 30 days, I could have an opportunity to send that guy a proposal, right? It changes the game a little bit. When the deals I'm going after are $5, $10, $20,000, every new opportunity as a result of just being engaged online, producing content that's valuable, that's working, that my target audience engages with, is worth my time. So, all right, model headlines and posts that work. So anyway, that's kind of the teaching portion. If do you guys want to workshop this out and try it out, and we can kind of see what bugs there are in this process? Jeff?
I'd like to see you go through the Buzzsumo process. if that's helpful for everybody else, because that's very interesting. I was checking it out in terms of creating content that other people are looking for. I think that's incredibly helpful. Okay. But I'm not. But that maybe just me. Chuck always disagrees with me. So go ahead, Chuck.
Not always. No, I think it'd be good to go through that exercise. Pam had her hand up, or Patricia had her hand up, but she put it down. I just want to make sure she get her question answered.
Oh, I just wanted to stay with the flow of what Caleb was talking about, because I also, sorry, my internet might be a little unstable. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. I was playing around with Buzzsumo as well, and the first thing I found was the course that I'm creating. When I put that in there, real estate investing for women, there was 4 people that showed up, and they had posts that had like engagement of 4, 5. I was like, So does that mean that there's actually a gap in that market that I can fill, or does that mean nobody's interested? Now I know people are interested because I network that in person, and I have a high level of interest. So yeah, just understanding Buzzsumo, if you could walk us through that, that would be, I know it's new to you as well.
I think intuitively everybody's interested in real estate investing, but this idea of making it your own, creating your own blue ocean. So a red ocean is where there's a bunch of sharks in the water going after the fish. All right. So you got the Grant Cardones of the world, teaching real estate investing to kind of the general market. You can sub niche that down to, real estate investing to women who are in their early 30s with 3 kids, right? And now also you have this untapped marketplace because you're speaking directly to them. So, this is a tool. We're looking for clues. This is not definitive, right? We know people are interested in real estate investing, but this is also a good way to find those blue oceans like that. Because yeah. So anyway, all right, let's just play around. We got a few people on the call. We'll just go round table. So in order of the people I see on my screen, we'll go sales. All right, look at that. Blair Singer.
Change it to sales training.
Okay.
Just see if there's subject matter experts that are. Oh, look at that. Training salespeople.
Okay. Got some people in your own group.
Yes, we dominate the content process of sales training, I guess.
Sort by
Brian Tracy.
American Paint Horse.
American Paint Horse.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So let's see what Dale Carnegie does.
So this has pulled out the word training, I think. Is there a way to keep those words, bundle those together, like in quotes or, yeah.
Make it Boolean.
Or, right. There we go, Dale Carnegie. Okay. This is good enough for me for at least understanding how to start.
Also, I think this is good because you recognize people on there, so you kind of know who's who in that space, right?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them. There's a million people who call themselves sales trainers out there who.
All right, let's look at this guy, the sales whisperer. So I mean,
look at Vin Gresso actually.
Who?
See the one right there? Up. Keep going down. Keep going. There, see the little V, the orange and blue.
Oh, okay. Go Vin Gresso.
Vin Gresso is a good company. I like that.
B2B sales. All right, so we're going to view this in Analyzer. Now you can compare it against another. Let's just look at it by itself. Okay, so fair amount of engagement. Let's go here.
Videos.
These are 103 posts were published with the total engagement of 34. All right, so maybe this isn't the most engaged
Okay.
Facebook post.
Right.
Let's just look. All right, so that's a live stream. All right, let's maybe go Dale Carnegie. Carnegie training. Average engagement. These guys aren't doing too hot.
Well, back to Patricia's point, is that an opportunity, or is it just people are like, nah, this isn't what they're searching for?
And that's what I was going to say, Jeff.
Like, how do
Let's
we
go
read
to
that?
YouTube.
Yeah.
So YouTube is intent based. All right, so let's say sales training. Okay.
Jordan Belfort.
Free sales training program. All right. Real Wolf. Okay. That's something you could do, sit in front of your books. All right, let's. All right, so if you're gonna make, my gosh, this is literally your studio, Jeff.
I need a fancy wooden panel on the wall.
Yeah, just cut up some pallets and nail it to the wall.
There you go.
All right. Okay, so Jeff Shore sales training. He only has 9,000 subscribers, but he's getting 57,000 views. Right. So this might be a guy to model.
All right.
See.
Okay. So then we just look at his content, figure out what's got the most likes, and steal it.
Just reverse engineer it. Okay. Yeah. So here's how this headline works. So pull out a notepad or something. You, Jeff.
I got you.
Okay. So let's model this headline. What could you speak to that we could copy this 5-minute sales training, Jeff Bowie. So how what could you speak to that you can model this headline structure?
Well, so we got reciprocation is a thing, right? So we just steal the same type of concept, right? Is that what you're saying? So if I said, hey, I'm going to run a 5-minute course on, matching and mirroring, active listening, NLP techniques, something like that.
Or build sales influence.
Well, and he's talking about this book, right? Influence, like the book I see right down below. So if that term of reciprocation is actually a chapter out of the book, where he's just taking that guy's content,
right?
And basically and I'm noodling here because I'm not sure exactly where to go with it, but
maybe what if you so 57,000 people watch his video, and if yours was pretty close and he said why salespeople fail at reciprocation, like if they watch watch his and then they see yours as a suggestion, and it was something like, okay, so now I just watched why it works, now why does it not work, and Jeff Bowie talks about it.
I like that. And also, like, hey, listen, the subject matter is reciprocation and sales influence. So I can go straight to the book, pull out some headline, and create, and I can put together like content around that headline. That makes sense. Okay, cool. I'm good.
Nice. Okay, so we're gonna stay on YouTube here. We'll say real, no, let's go back to Buzzsumo. Okay. Real estate investing. You do commercial or residential?
I'm residential.
Residential. Robert Kiyosaki. Okay. Let's do USA. United States. Okay, Robert Kiyosaki. Obviously a big name. Sorted by views. Huh. Real estate. Residential assisted living. #1 real estate investment today.
Yeah, it's a fascinating industry.
Yeah, it's a good hook because it's not it's kind of a lesser known topic,
What?
right?
Right.
So how could you model this?
Well, initially, I mean, having like, research and understood investing in residential assisted living, it's actually something that I would avoid like the plague, to be honest.
No,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
but-
Like, how can you? So let's just take this out, right? So we're
Okay.
inserting what your area of expertise,
Oh,
your
it's the
pillars
#1
are.
real estate. Oh, got you. Okay, so I could pick some other real estate investing idea that I think is hot right now, because real estate investing right now is obviously very challenged with the high prices. But done properly, like I know of a few niches where it makes sense to buy property right now as an investor, even with the higher prices.
So what would one of those be?
So-
Because I'm going to write that down.
One of those would be, okay, well, actually this would, you would understand this more than most, Caleb. It would be travel nurses. Travel nurses rent furnished apartments at a higher amount than a monthly rental. It's not an Airbnb, it's a travel nurse. And so right now we are actually buying properties around large medical facilities for travel nurses to live in while they're, at that facility working. So it's corporate housing. I'm trying to think of the right phrase so that it grabs attention.
If you
Corporate
just,
housing.
yeah, corporate's too, you said travel
Yeah.
nursing, like that
Travel
is,
nurse- That's
I
very
mean,
niche down.
it's
Genius.
super niche.
Yeah.
And that's something a savvy investor like a doctor or a nurse, or even a travel nurse, like they would invest in, right? Because they understand the industry.
Right. Well, and the great thing is they're not expensive properties, right? But they cash flow nicely, even in this crazy market.
Plus, it's a good person that's renting it, right? Like a travel
Yeah.
nurse is not like just somebody coming in for the weekend or whatever. They're
And it takes away all that. It takes away all that eviction moratorium. It takes all that fear away.
Yeah.
Because the person's naturally living on their own and they're paying. And on the websites, they don't want all the other owners to know that they're a dirtbag. They're mostly women. So their core, the things that they value, such as security, a second floor apartment, a gated community cover, that kind of, they're pretty easy to satisfy their wants and needs.
Yeah. So your headline could be like, you could try different hooks, but it could be something like, forget Airbnb, look at this hidden real estate investment today.
Right.
You know,
Okay.
so hidden, previously unknown, you know, so we're just looking for clues.
Yeah.
So the clue here is this is a lesser known real estate investment technique, and it's something that's working right now.
Yeah, I have a question. So obviously you can model that and replace residential assisted living with the travel nurse. Could you also, or would an alternative be something where you pick up on this, you know, you've heard of residential, like somebody who's targeting, wanting to know about this video, and then you piggyback on it. Why I don't invest in residential assisted living and I do travel nurse houses instead. Is that a strategy that makes sense, or the one you're talking about is better, or are they both good?
I don't think there's a right or wrong way to do this, but I love that idea. And I'll tell you why from a personal experience. And I'm going to switch accounts here. This will be really funny. All right. So in 2010, maybe it was 2009. Okay. My channel. Videos. All right. See, I want my dollar back 13 years ago. 22,000 views. There was a video from a guy called the Household Hacker where he said you could basically take a dollar's worth of materials and make a speaker out of it. Right? It was a stupid tutorial. YouTube was young. I don't know what I was doing, sitting in my office. And at the time, you could make video replies to videos. And I was just piggybacking off his video, which was highly viewed. I made a reply because he basically said, make a speaker for $1. And then my reply was, I want my dollar back. It didn't work. What you're saying doesn't work. And that stupid video has got me 22,000 views and monetized my YouTube channel, which isn't even a YouTube channel. And if I would have started posting right back then, we wouldn't be having this conversation, because I would be bathing myself in $100 bills. I would be a super big YouTuber. But it totally went over my head of how powerful YouTube was at that moment. So all that to say, putting the reverse on what's working, I think works, right? Residential real estate. Here's why I don't do residential real estate. Try this instead. I'm sorry. What'd you say? Assisted living real estate. I mean, and you could talk about, it's litigious, it's high cost. Unless you're a multimillionaire, I wouldn't even touch it. But if you are a small time or first time investor, try this instead. Call me, I'm Patricia. So.
Yeah, I hear you.
Anyway, yeah. I did Toastmasters and I gave this horrible speech, but I got 147 views. Anyway, I think we got.
Reminds me of the movie. I want my $2. Better Off Dead. Anybody see that movie?
No,
John Cusack?
Jeff, we don't watch that kind of stuff.
That's an awesome movie.
Right. We agree, Jeff. Thank you.
Better Off Dead. It's one of the best movies ever made.
It's classic.
Yes,
That's
classic.
right.
Okay, love coach. What's a keyword that we can type in? That's you, Scott.
Man, I left my book in the other room and now I'm on the spot. We could do probably communication. Something about my wife and I can't understand each other.
Like that. It's not like what's a arguing marriage. We argue a lot. 7 5,000 views, not too exciting. Let's just go right for the jugular here. Okay. My wife, when a wife wants a divorce. Wow. That's entertainment. Maybe we should exclude entertainment because
What if I have an idea for a fair proofing your marriage? So what if we found videos that talk about how to recover from an affair, and maybe we could piggyback on, because I think a lot of people search that, but then maybe could piggyback on that with, you know, instead of thinking about it after the fact, let's affair proof. Let's be proactive.
I like it, being proactive.
I'll get rid of entertainment. More filters. Exclude
Can you just check education?
education, comedy, how to people. I mean, it's not huge engagement, but I mean, he's getting 6,000 views, right? And you have to realize most of these people, 99% of these people are not using paid strategies to boost their channels. Most people don't know what they're doing, right? There are ways to boost engagement with a little bit of money, right? So, and also target that engagement with people who would likely buy. So, you know, with some paid strategies, we can make sure this 5.9 thousand people are really going. They're really people who could be a potential client. All right, so let's see what this one has to say. All right, this is a 2.3 minute video. A fair recovery. Okay. Yeah, I mean, at least they're putting effort into this channel. They're getting some engagement. They have some subscribers.
Stuff to model there.
Stuff to model. I mean, this is not necessarily just a 5-minute process. You know, you got to dig into the weeds a little bit. But I think that's good in terms of exercise. I feel like, personally, I think this has shown some of the power of modeling what works. Why don't we go through our takeaways, just rapid fire, and then we'll close it up. Patricia, the lady of the house, please share with us.
I originally came here to, you know, to understand funnels or to find someone to do them for me. You know, my takeaway is, it takes me back to, what I've also read in the past, which is find what's working and see how it's working and see what you can do different. And that's, I'm going to go out and research everybody doing what I want to accomplish.
Beautiful. Well, thanks for coming today, and I'll send you a message and let's connect one-on-one this week or next. All right.
That'd be great.
All right, Chuck.
Yeah, I agree with Patricia. Like, just model what is already being used and or working, and then using that Buzzsumo makes it easier to find out what is working as opposed to just going in and searching that. You could use both, but either way, you can find what's working, and success leaves clues. So just follow those clues.
Truth bombs, Chuck. Scott?
Well, it's encouraging because I think we've all like just randomly posted whatever thought comes to mind. And this is a little bit more scientific approach. You know, there's still work that needs to be done on the back end of it, but to be a little more targeted and have a better shot at something getting views, kind of like Jeff was saying at the beginning, like we've all done that, like, you know, post and you put great stuff out there. I've worked on this for a month and you get like 3 views, and that's kind of frustrating. So we can kind of know ahead of time what's going to work and what's not going to work.
Jeff?
Yeah, I can piggyback on that as well. Like, I think that knowing what our, you know, ICP is, ideal client profile, is allows us then to go and find these contents that when we spin up this funnel, this landing page, we know exactly, like the choice you started off earlier, Caleb, talking about who are we talking to, what's the niche that we're going to pick out, and not be afraid to say, like, you know, this is the content I'm going to go for, and this really helps to know. Here's what, you know, there's some validation behind this kind of content that I'm going to create. So
Yeah,
it's a great takeaway. Thanks.
Normally I don't like to get the last word, but my takeaway is that just seeing that sales video we found for Jeff with no preparation beforehand, that video was like 2.5 minutes long and has 57,000 views. You know, I would take an hour, you know, because it takes time to prep and to shoot it and to edit it. Like, I would take an hour and shoot a video that gets thousands and thousands of views, right? That is a good investment of time. But to pay for thousands and thousands of views is going to cost me a couple thousand bucks, right? So this is a worthy investment of time that will pay for itself over and over again, assuming you have the right funnels in place, which that's why I'm here. I'm here to help you with that. All right. Love you guys. We'll see you next Wednesday. Look forward to meeting some of you guys individually soon.